I had always thought of myself as sort of an argumentative pain in the neck. I love to disagree. So when I got to college and people started calling me names like happy and positive and telling me how happy I made them, I was surprised. Obviously, they just didn't know me very well. But these conversations made me think, what is happiness? Is it something we're born with or something we can learn? Can I really affect someone else's happiness? One day, I was waiting in line at the grocery store. I could see from the back of the line the cashier angrily scanning people's groceries and looking truly dangerous at any mention of a coupon. I need to switch lines, I thought to myself. But then I realized this was a good opportunity to see if my friends were right about boosting other people's happiness. So I waited in her line. "How are you today?" I asked when I got to the front. "Not good," she growled back. "There's a song I listen to when I'm having a bad day. Maybe it will help." I told her the name of the song, and I left. I was pretty sure I hadn't made her any more angry, but I certainly hadn't helped. About a week later, I went back to the same store. I saw the lady. My initial reaction was to turn around and walk right back out of the store. But when I saw her face, I could see that something had changed. She looked like a new person, and I could tell she was happy to see me. She called out, "Hey, I've been listening to that song you told me about." And then something happened that I'll never forget. I walked over to the counter where she was standing behind a glass partition. She looked at me. She smiled. She made eye contact. I could feel her joy. Cautiously, I slid my hand under the partition where I should have been sliding money or lottery tickets. And without any hesitation, she reached out and placed her hand on top of mine. That moment was a turning point for me. The truth is, when I got to the front of the line on that first day, I could see that this woman wasn't just being a grouch. Something painful was happening in her life. She was experiencing something difficult. And then this spoiled college kid comes through her line and says, "Hey, listen to this song. It'll make you feel better." And this woman was open enough, optimistic enough, that she remembered the song. She went home, she searched for it, she listened to it, and it helped. My interaction with this woman touched me deeply. It made me want to understand happiness. Since then, I've pursued a master's degree in positive psychology, the scientific study of human thriving. And today, my job is teaching people how to live and work happier. I have come to define happiness as a feeling of wholeness and deep fulfillment with one's life. I believe that this is the feeling we are truly after when we say, "I want to be happy." So what do we need to be happy? Most of us think we need money, a good job, a nice place to live, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a family, less stress. But the truth is, we need almost nothing. I believe that there are only two things we need to be happy, and neither of them are things. Today, I want to share with you the 2 steps to lifelong happiness. The first step is developing an optimistic attitude. Dr. Martin Seligman, the founder of positive psychology, first became famous for discovering a phenomenon called learned helplessness. Learned helplessness means that when you put people in a bad situation that they cannot escape, like a room with an unstoppable annoying noise, and then later put them in a bad situation that they could easily escape, like a room with an annoying noise that could be turned off, they don't even try to escape. Turning off the annoying noise, the pain, doesn't even occur to them because they have already learned that nothing they do can make their situation better. In other words, people have a tendency to internalize setbacks and conclude that they are powerless in their own lives. Some people, however, were immune. A small number of people in Seligman's studies never became helpless. So Seligman began studying these people, and what he found is that the individuals who never became helpless have a very specific attitude towards setbacks. Instead of saying, "It's all my fault," they say, "Maybe the equipment in this room is faulty." And because of this, they try again next time. Instead of saying, "I'm doomed, this is going to last forever," they say, "This too shall pass." And they take action to make it better. We call this habit of explaining life's setbacks as temporary, specific, and impersonal optimism. Optimism is highly adaptive in every realm of life and every profession, and it can be learned by anyone. Well, except maybe my lawyer. And it is the foundation of happiness. Becoming more optimistic takes a lot of practice, but start here. When something goes wrong, ask yourself, what factors were outside of my control? How can I take action to change the situation or to move forward? And what's going well in other parts of my life? In other words, despite this bad thing that happened, what doesn't stink? The second step to happiness is building strong relationships. I define strong relationships as close, supportive relationships in which closeness and caring are reciprocated. We know for a fact that becoming a parent diminishes positive emotion and increases negative emotion. Parents are more stressed, more frustrated, more worried, more fatigued. Relationships are tough. I read a great quote the other day. It was by spiritual guru Ram Dass. He said roughly, "If you think you are enlightened, try going home for Thanksgiving." So why is it that relationships are such a fundamental ingredient to happiness? Because relationships enable us to see that our life has meaning, that we are serving a purpose here on earth, that somebody cares. Every piece of happiness research I have ever read returns this finding, that the happiest people have close, loving relationships and a fulfilling social life. George Vaillant, director of the longest-running happiness study, which followed almost 300 men over 75 years of their lives, summarized his findings in 3 words: happiness equals love. Happiness equals love. Vaillant's findings prove that by the time we reach the end of our lives, relationships are really the only thing that matters. And it's not just at home that relationships matter. The quality of friendship amongst employees is the single most reliable indicator of productivity and dedication at work. There are thousands of ways that you can build strong relationships, but one simple way is to tell someone something specific that you appreciate about them each day. Each day. These 2 steps, developing an optimistic attitude and building strong relationships, may seem intuitive, but the truth is, they're not. The optimists in Seligman's study were the outliers, the exception to the rule, not the average. Most marriages fail. Most American workers report receiving 0 appreciation within the past year. But what we do know is that the skills of happiness can be learned. I believe that these skills must be taught rigorously and universally, just like science and math. What if every little girl learned what to say to herself when she gets teased by her classmates? What if every little boy learned how to communicate his emotions clearly and kindly so that he could avoid the pain and loneliness of isolation? What if every manager received training on how to make each employee feel appreciated and understood? If each of us makes attitude and relationships our highest priorities, then we will be living in a world where it is easy to thrive and easy to be happy. Thank you.